So you were saying before that maybe there's some movies where animals aren't necessarily seen as like the friendly sidekick or, you know, the lovable sidekick to a main character, and maybe sometimes they'll be actually seen as like creepy. For example, in horror movies, sort of in the way that small children are sometimes used as like a creepy device in horror movies.
Well, I think it goes back to like anthropomorphism. Like, I think that is also used in horror films because, like, whatever's very familiar can be comforting. But at the same time, it can be kind of creepy when then it becomes like a creepy, scary creature. Like, we talked about this in, what was it? Maybe like Sweeney Todd, where something creepy, like scary music, there's something like very familiar about like a childhood rhyme or like a nursery tune or something like that. But then when you like literally play it drawn out, I think that's when it gets like super creepy because you're like so familiar with it, but it's like so creepy.
Yeah.
And I think animals,
making the familiar strange.
yeah, and I think animals in a way, because they're so like us, it can be really comforting, but then because they're really not like us at all, then it can be very scary in that sense. And I guess I don't really have an example of like an animal that turns creepy, but I think that might be something to do with what we were talking about before about like anthropomorphism.
Yeah. Have you seen Annihilation by any chance?
Oh, the Natalie Portman one. I haven't, actually. I haven't heard good things about it.
You haven't?
No.
Well, I guess it was sort of mixed in that some people thought it was like way over the top and weird and made no sense. But like it was fascinating as a movie, despite the fact that it didn't really make sense. At the end, you're like, wait, was that real? What just happened? Who is she? Kind of thing. And it does some weird things, but I think it sort of serves the movie. So I thought it was fascinating. And I'm thinking they do some weird, creepy things with animals in that movie.
As in, like,
so
the scientific test, they test on animals. Or no, the animals become weird, or they just are weird.
Yes.
Oh.
The animals become weird. So the movie is about this area. It's like this sectioned off area because weird things started happening, and so these scientists go into this area to try to figure out what happened, why people have been disappearing, that kind of thing, why nobody has made it out of this area alive. And they start to realize that things are a little bit different. So there's nature and there's animals, but there's something slightly off about them. You see like a deer with two heads. Things seem like genetically modified. You see a crocodile that has a person's voice screaming. That kind of thing. So it's really creepy. And the thing is, it's like a beautiful location. So you think you're somewhere like safe and comfortable and there's nature all around you and like wildlife, but there's something slightly off and it makes it really, really creepy because you think you're in like a normal place.
I guess that's because sometimes we feel like we're the center of the universe and we feel like we understand a lot about the world already. And I think this works perfectly for that film because it's a science sci-fi-y film. Mm-hmm. And so there's this kind of notion that we have done so much discovery about the world already. We are the masters of this earth. And potentially when those animals don't end up acting the way that we know that they will act or appear the way that they would appear, that is creepy. And so that movie sounds like it's playing on not necessarily anthropomorphism, which we started the conversation about, but more so about like that thing of like, we didn't expect this. So it's like really creepy because we definitely expected these animals to just follow our command and follow exactly what we think that they should do and what we expect them to do, but they're just not. Like, they now have two heads. What? That's so creepy.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really creepy. It's the kind of movie that you like kind of have to cover your face a little bit if you're not great with some horror, which I'm not. But it really, really fascinating movie, especially with what it does regarding animals.
Isn't it so interesting that animal movies can be both cute, but also can be super scary and weird at the same time? And I think it's because they really perfectly fit in this gray area of they are something we're familiar with because we might have a dog around or something like that, but they're really, we don't really know what they're like. We're not the same species. Yep. And so it's so easy to use animals to portray something that's like so like arm's length cute, we can take care of you, but also like arm's length, whoa, you're not what I expected.
Yeah, I think part of that, as you were saying, is that like we don't understand animals, so we have to assign emotions or thoughts or intentions to them, and so that can either be positive emotions and making them like super lovable sidekick, or we can make them seem like really creepy and capable of like evil, sort of in the way that like humans are, because we don't fully understand them, so we can give them whatever traits we want to. And usually that does end up being positive traits, because I think generally we think about animals in a positive light.